Holy shit, Lee, it's Friday already. Jesus,
Saturday here, mate.
that's a fact. It sure is
I am in
Saturday
the
over there.
I'm in the future, bro.
Oh, man, you are in the future.
I
I've
know.
always thought you were from the fucking future. That beard especially. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
yeah.
You know, before I forget, next Saturday we'll be in Vegas. So I'm really, really excited about that. Never been to Vegas before, so I've got my fucking trip all planned out, and I've got like a little map of fucking places where I want to go and shit. And
The itinerary is set.
man, I'm excited. There's a Marvel fucking museum there. I want to check that shit out because it looked really cool. But welcome everybody to another show with Lee and I. We're hanging out here. It's Friday night as usual. On Comics Unbound, and we're talking stuff, right? We're going to talk some stuff, some wild shit. We normally talk work and we normally talk bullshit. Let's talk some fucking shit today. All right, let's talk some shit. So, let me ask you this. Friday entertainment, yes, ma'am, all goddamn evening. Let me ask you this, Lee. I don't know that we've ever really talked about this one.
Mhm.
Elves, right? We've got Fallen Leaves coming out next week. Will be the pre-orders. What was the first experience you ever had with an elf? And don't give me none of this Christmas shenanigans like you saw one stealing your fucking underwear or something. Give me like your,
Honestly, I would say probably going back to the early to mid '80s for me.
right.
And I was pummeling fantasy novels. I wasn't really aware of them from memory up until this point, but what's our books feel like? Fucking
Well, Xanth is a good one.
no,
Lord of
there's
the Rings.
what was our books we always talk about? Dragonlance.
Oh, Dragonlance.
That
Okay.
was one.
So D&D was your first foray into elves then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Without playing the game, friends and
Sure.
stuff were like right into it. But I read Dragonlance and came into them that way. And then my uncle and I used to swap fantasy novels, and
That's awesome.
he gave me this was my first foray into like the Lord of the Rings. So I got the Hobbit, the Silmarillion, and the Lord of the Rings off him, and was like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
That's like 3 feet high. And then over the course of I guess a year, I got into all of that world.
Yeah.
So I guess those were my first
Right
foray.
on.
Obviously since then, you see a lot more movies with them in and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Well, let's delve into that, okay? Because it's a very interesting topic to me, anyway. Because I used to write, Dungeons and Dragon campaigns. Really well enough to get paid to do it, right? So there's and I did Pathfinder. I wrote Pathfinder stuff for a little while. But there's this concept, right? There's a huge difference between Lord of the Rings and your general fantasy, which comes into the play where in Lord of the Rings, you don't see a whole lot of magic. It's very subtle. It's always been very, very subtle. And all the Tolkien stuff was very, very subtle. Versus Dragonlance, it was very, very prominent. It was in your face. With the Raceland, the Magier twins, with Raceland Magier and Cameron Magier and all that. Two of my favorite books in characters in literature ever. I was a huge fan of the Magier twins. Oh, fuck. Such good characters.
Well,
But
the trilogy was called something of the twins, wasn't it? In
Test of the
Dragonlance?
Twins. It was Test of the Twins. There was 3 of them. They were different names for of the twins, though. But it was the Magier trilogy. Yeah, so there was Test of the Twins. Oh fuck, I don't remember the other 2. Shawnee could probably remember. But anyway, there's a concept though with these types of characters where we look at magic and we look at fantasy as 2 things that tie themselves hand in hand. And I had a fan ask me the other day, they were like, "Are you going to use magic?" I am so going to use magic. And I'll tell you one reason why. One reason, and it doesn't even have to do with my likes, what I think about stories or anything. We have a fucking banging art team on that book. Like, we have banging art teams on every book, but this book has David Ocampo on colors and Marcelo Salas on lines. So you're looking at like just I think I'd be remiss not to show you guys wild magic and just really cool abilities and stuff because of the way that how talented these two individuals are. You know, and I think that plays a lot into our storytelling. You know, I tend to write toward the team that's doing the art. You know, um, but as you're looking at things like that, your magic, your big fireball spells, your rain of fires, your fucking using nature magic to make plants grow or to make vines grab somebody or whatever, what have you, or speaking to animals. You know what I mean? There's all different kinds of cool things that you could do in the world of D&D or fantasy novels or anything like that. I think my very first foray was actually the Shannara books,
Mm.
by Terry Brooks. Your Elfstones of Shannara, and which was a very different type of fantasy than your traditional as you go through it. He actually created one of my favorite characters ever. Again, we're going to delve into fantasy a lot lately, guys, because of the new book coming out and stuff. But I was a big fan of the Dark Uncle, and I thought he was such a cool character. You know, he's a normal dude that gets turned into a druid, doesn't know what the fuck a druid is, and has to go through all these crazy things and live for fucking ever, basically. You know what I mean? Protecting these stones. And he had the coolest like companion pet in his cat. You know, his cat that was like a moor cat. It was like this. Think of like a giant like saber-toothed panther almost, but it could like go invisible. Like it just like fade out of fucking existence and show up after it started eating your ass. You know what I mean? Like really, really cool concepts. But I think that we're going to use magic in a way that's more akin to D&D and less akin to your Tolkien stuff, where you were trying to make it more realistic, because in the book they talk a lot about it when he's fighting the Balrog, right, and they're falling down, but there's magic being cast and stuff as he's falling down. You really don't see that in the films. There's a lot of things that you miss out. There you go. Time of the Twins, War of the Twins, and Test of the Twins.
That's the one. I
Such a
remember I
great
loved Test of
trilogy.
the Twins,
Oh,
man. Yeah, that was a
oh my
great
gosh.
pleasure of that.
Well, and you bring up Dragonlance, and Dragonlance, I think, I follow Margaret Wise. Like I follow all her social media because she's such a phenomenal writer. But it's like, when they were creating these books, it was literally like they were playing D&D, and that's where the stories were coming from. You know what I mean? So, as she's creating them and she's putting out like characters like Tanis Half Elven. I'll never forget Tanis Half Elven my entire life. You know what I mean? Such an incredible character, which was actually a real person playing that character that you're getting the story of, right? So it's a really, really neat like concept of how we're getting these characters from our childhood that will last with us forever. And who'd have fucking thought it while they were sitting and playing a game that these characters would come to life in such a way. But huge fan. So that was one of those characters that brought me into what I enjoy as fantasy. And there's also a series called Magic Kingdom of Landover, and it was about they did a movie when we were kids. I swear I wish I could remember what it was called, but it was about a dude that's like a lawyer that somehow gets sucked into the body of a dragon in another fucking world, and he doesn't know how to be the dragon. You know what I mean? He has no idea how to fucking be a dragon in this world, and he's fighting trolls and fighting all kinds of shit and trying to get this fucking wizard to give him his body back and shit. And it was a really interesting concept, and I loved those stories. Like, they didn't need over the top violence, they didn't need language. The Dragon and the George, of course, absolutely. I have all the first editions upstairs. I'm a huge, huge fan. That's one reason that I want Den to do a cover for me, because if you don't know who Den is, you need to look Den up. Den did the covers for those books, Shawnee. I'm a fucking huge fan. But they did the cartoon, and it blew my mind. Is this like 9-year-old kid that lived out in the sticks on a farm, that they had brought my favorite fucking book series to life as a cartoon, it blew my mind. But it was a lot of fun without the your seriousness almost of like Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Because Lord of the Rings was like all your big battles and your wars and your stuff like that, versus even your how's it going? Even your Dragonlance stuff, as serious as it focused on those characters. You know what I mean? You got like your five main characters, and then they were on adventures and they were doing quests and they were fucking solving problems and all kinds of crazy shit. Every now and then they'd get sucked into a war, but wars were going on in the world, not around these characters. Excuse me. And I think I found that really interesting. And you'll find that in Fallen Leaves, that's the kind of fantasy that I enjoy. I love the party. You know what I mean? I love your sword and board. You know, you've got your warrior out there and he's protecting the party. And, you know, these are things that I really, really like about fantasy. You know, like if your elf characters should be like lithe and, you know, really dexterous characters. But to be fair, I do have a dwarf. She is a paladin and she beats the shit out of people with a ladle. I'm a huge fan. Yeah. Like I'm
But
a
not
huge
just
fan.
any sort of ladle, I assume.
Nope, she owns a little like inn, you know, and she gets sucked into the world of our main character, and in turn herself becomes a main character. You meet her in book 2, but she beats the piss out of people with a ladle. And she also carries this like she makes this shield in the beginning out of like the sign to her fucking establishment, you know. It's a big ass fucking wooden shield that she's got and a ladle that she's fucking people up with, you know. And I really, yeah, me too. I mean, who wouldn't want to be friends with somebody who beats the shit out of somebody with a ladle? That being said, I wanted to talk about some things that are going on in the media right now and are blowing people's fucking minds in fantasy. Okay, it's fantasy. Get the fuck over it. That's all I've really got to say about it. It's fantasy. Have a good time. Don't fucking attack people because they like their fantasy like this or they like their fantasy like that. Um, Look, man, we can't speak for people and their creations. So unless Buddy comes up from the dead and he's like, I don't like beards on dwarves, or I don't like fucking, you know, black elves, sit down and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Because that shit's stupid. Just enjoy the fantasy.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, and to be honest with you, I'm enjoying it immensely. I just and am enjoying going into that world that like I love so much and grew up with, and read all the books for and stuff. And man, the more they can get out there, the better. I'll sit down and watch that every day of the week. So people need to just chill out and enjoy stuff, Dustin.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
like God damn, I don't think the person
For
writing
sure.
it was, like sitting there thinking, racking up a list of people he could offend or she could offend. It's like they're just doing it. That's great.
Yes, exactly. And that's it. It's all about bringing in new fan bases. That being said, my dwarf does not have a beard, which what the fuck ever. She just doesn't have a beard. The beard's not on brand. You know what I mean? It's not on brand. So, but she's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? She is short. She is stocky. She's a busty little like barmaid type of chick.
Mm.
She does end up being an actual paladin, which is a lot of fun. We've got numerous different types of characters. I've always been a fan of druids in fantasy. So we've got our own druid that'll join the party and stuff. We've got several elves that'll join the party. I think we have one human. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on in the stories. There are dragons, there are the undead, there are necromancers, there are goblins galore. You know, but I want you guys to understand that the cool thing about this world that we've created with Fallen Leaves is it's just like all of our others. It's so open. It's so open to different types of tales and different types of, events, and the world itself continues to move even if the characters are sitting still. and I really enjoy that. I think that that's a fun way to keep the people interested, and it's a fun way to keep the world growing. You know, um, like I was just talking to Gene. Gene's got a story coming out with us starting next year, an ongoing series that's really cool and in space. Got all kinds of wild shit going on with it. But like this dude is developing as he's writing, and that's an amazing thing to watch. The stories that he's creating and developing as he continues. I'll say this: most of the new writers we've brought on 3 recently. Most of the new writers that we have, even though I'm editing their stuff, I'll tell you guys this: it's not shit tons of edits. They look really, really good, and we wouldn't have hired them to begin with if they didn't. But it's the stories look great. They read really well. The characters are really, really intriguing. And I think that's important. It doesn't matter if a character is only going to be in the story for 2 issues. They should be intriguing. They should be interesting. You should want to invest your interest and your time into what you're creating or what you're reading. So if it's a boring villain, no one wants to read it. You know what I mean? If he's Joe Blow and he's coming to rob the bank, I don't give a shit if he's like this normal dude and he's literally coming to rob the bank. Give him a backstory for robbing that bank. You know what I mean? He's got like tears in his eyes because he's trying to pay for his son's surgery and he has to have this money and he doesn't give a fuck if he dies getting the money. As long as he gets the money to his family, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? These little nuances will draw people into your world, and I'm having a shit ton of fun with it. Why is a paladin working in an inn? Dwarves live a long time. Why is a paladin working at an inn? I don't know. We'll find out. Why is the druid hang out at the inn with the paladin? We'll find out. What happens to our main character at the end of issue 1? I don't know. I like cliffhangers. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But it's such a fun story. Like, it's so fun. It is dark. It is gnarly, just like anything else that we put out here at Ethereal. But it's a little bit more on the like psychologically fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty wild, And I say that having just seen the last couple pages of the new Stitches story, short story pieces. So it's pretty tore up, but it's a lot of fun. I love the characters that you get to meet and get to read about and get involved in, because they're like, man, they're good. They're real good. I love this concept of the first issue. This, you meet this massive dick bag of a dragon, right? And he's just like, on this fucking mission of his own to do whatever he wants, and no one's going to stop him. He's a dragon. Who's going to get in his way, right? So it's really interesting to see how these characters react, how, we build them, and then even seeing the art. No lie, Blayden Hunter had me in fucking tears yesterday. He had me all fucked up when I saw the last couple pages for BGD3. Like, I was tore up from the floor up. And they're beautiful. And that's what we always try to bring. We try to bring these feelings, these like absolute feelings out of you for when you're in these stories. Cause again, if you're not invested, who wants to read it? Everybody keeps asking about Starling from BGD. We love Starling. Starling's great. She's our own fucking fiery redheaded cop chick. We love her to pieces. Everybody's like, oh, well, she's always hanging around Ricky. What's the story? Read it. You know what I mean? You guys are going to get a lot from that. She's a great character. You're going to meet her brother in the next couple issues. He's a good character too. They both work for Center City Police Department, so you'll get to see a lot of stories with them. But again, if you're not invested, it's no fun. So getting back, let's reel that back into fantasy and where we were at just a minute ago, though, because I really think that you guys can enjoy different types of fantasy, and different types of mediums with fantasy. That being said, don't forget next month is the first release from Ethereal After Dark, and that is the Kinktober release from April Reina. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys have never seen Kinktober, you're missing out. I didn't even know what the fuck some of that stuff was. I had to use the Urban Dictionary. don't look at it on a computer where anybody's around you. It's terrifying. Some of it's really neat though. So check it out. It's cool stuff. And like I said, that'll be the first book out of Ethereal After Dark, and plenty more coming for that one. Lee, what's your favorite school of magic, sir?
Oh man, I don't know what that in depth. I don't know, man.
No,
I honestly don't know. I don't know it that in depth, man. Like the schools of magic and stuff. Like
for sure.
I can just gauge it on. I like those sort of, whether they're real or not, but the characters that I like in terms of fantasy are people that I guess are a bit nature. Magic is nature wise, but like they can whip a sword off their back and like stand there and give you some if they got to.
Right.
Those
I got
sorts of
you.
things. Yeah, I've always had a bit of a penchant like this. I don't know. I'll just say you can tell me what school this is. I've always enjoyed the characters that have like an animal mate. Like and can talk to animals and stuff like that. Like
For
those
sure.
those fantasy characters have always attracted me. So whatever school that is, mate, that's the school I attend. So
Right on. I'm with you. I love that. I absolutely love that. What's going on, man? How's it going? I have always been a fan of the when D&D had a way of doing their mages, right? They would classify them as white mages, red mages, or black mages, generally speaking, back in the day. Illusions are a lot of fun, man. I played a gnome thief illusionist for many, many years, and that was just a ton of fun. But one type of magic you don't see often is your like your time magic, and I think that's a lot of fun, interesting stuff. Absolutely, all day long. We were literally just talking about Dragonlance. Oh man, and the different moons and all kinds of shit. You'll get me going on that. But so, I'm looking at like essences of characters where instead of having like a school of magic per se, that they may have had a tutor or a teacher in a certain type of magic. And I find that to be an interesting concept. One of the first mages you'll actually meet in Fallen Leaves is a necromancer. And the deal with the necromancer is they get hired to go and, stop this evil being from, raising an army of the undead without having any knowledge whatsoever about what's actually going on. They just saw some undead, so they're assuming that's what's occurring. That does, in fact, lead into for our very first ever one shot. And that'll drop next year, which is actually about a goblin zombie that can't talk, and he's sent to complete a mission and by a necromancer. So it should be a lot of fun. It'll be a little bit of comedy in that realm, so it'll be fun. I'm excited about it. Can't give away too much. I like to tell you guys all the story and let you in on everything, but I gotta rein in just a little bit. That being said, I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with Fallen Leaves. We have an amazing gift for Lee Chalker. I cannot wait to get it to you, dude. Like I'm stupid excited about it. So yeah, gonna be a lot of fun. Oh, so much fun. Another cool thing that we've got. Oh man, it's stupid. Like it's so fucking cool. It's dumb. But it's so cool. Like it's the coolest. If someone were to give it to me, I'd probably shit. I wouldn't even know what to do.
You're getting me G'd up here now,
right.
man.
If it wasn't involving myself, you know what I mean, I would be mad excited about it. You know what I mean? If it was somebody I was a fan of or something, I'd be yeah. But anyway, so we got Vegas coming up next week. I know Shawnee's going to be there. We've got a bunch of fans, a bunch of friends that are going to be hanging out with us. We're going to be all over Vegas, guys. Like literally all over. Heather and I are getting there. Oh man, Heather, me, Lieris, we're all going to get there Wednesday. So we'll be all over town checking things out and seeing the sights and stuff. So if you happen to be in Vegas, swing by and say what's up if you see us on the street. Because we're gonna be doing some fun shit, checking out some museums, bro. I had no idea there were museums all over that place. Like fucking just cool shit. Like there's a Marvel museum. I gotta check it out. I'm like
What have they
excited.
got there? Like original artwork and
It
big
looked
statues?
like props and stuff. So I definitely want to.
Right.
I definitely want to check it out and see what's going on. They've got like an aquarium. They've got all kinds of crazy shit, and so we're gonna check it out. I think we're just gonna Wednesday. I think we're going to the hotel. Then we're just gonna chill at the hotel and stuff, and do the pool and whatnot. Maybe poke around for dinner, but we don't fly until like 5:30, so it's gonna take an hour to get off the plane and get to the hotel and stuff. And so it'll be 6:30, and we might poke around a little bit, but I think it's probably just gonna be like a pool night for that one.
And then to get up and get into it the next day, mate.
Man, I'm excited. Well, it's been really cool because people have come out of the woodwork talking about really cool shit you need to see while you're in Vegas, and I'm just like, I guess there's some place like some weird ass egg place that we're going to in the morning on Thursday to have breakfast and stuff, and and then just poke around and see where shit's at, and then just do the whole like date thing because we've got 2 kids and we don't get out very often together without them. So we're gonna poke around the city and see some sights and stuff, and then come Friday's the show. So if you guys are going to Vegas, swing by and see us. We're at A 93, 94, 95, which we're near the very front, in the back row in the very front. But we've got 3 tables, so you guys, it's gonna be hard to miss us. And then I know that Steph Wilson and Carrie Ann have got a table. Ryan Kincaid's got a table. There's a lot of folks that have been with Ethereal that are at the show, so make sure you guys swing by and say hi. One cool thing about that is all of them will have If It Hops blanks. Everybody's gonna have If It Hops blanks. So if you guys are looking for some original art or a cool blank cover, hit them up, man. They're gonna have some good books. I'm excited about it.
That goes the whole weekend.
Oh man, so it's Friday is like 3 to 8, and then Saturday, I want to say it's like 10 to 6, and I think Sunday is like 10 to 7. So we'll see.
You'll be knackered by 7 o'clock Sunday night.
Man,
like,
I'm gonna be
I gotta pack up.
Man, my flight the next fucking morning is at like 8 o'clock. So my ass has got to get to the airport by like 5:30. You know what I mean? And the cool thing is the airport's only like 10-minute drive from the fucking hotel. So I'm hoping that that's pretty easy to handle. So I'm ready to get there. I'm ready to get in, see what's up. And
bang it out.
Do it, man. Yeah, because when we get back, I know you guys may not give a shit, but it's interesting to me. When we get back, my daughter has accomplished something really cool, you guys. And it's going to sound strange, but it's very, very cool. She's 11 years old right now, turning 12, and going into one of the only high schools in the country that is 6 through 12. And it's rated the top 7th high school in the country, number 1 in the state of Tennessee. And she got into the chorus program there. And the week after we get back is her first, chorus event. So we're very, very excited for her. And then after that, like 2 weeks later is Halloween Horror Nights, which we do every year for my birthday and my daughter's birthday and whatnot. And then 2 weeks after that is If It Hops, man. So we're,
busy, mate.
Busy. Well, we got Greed. We've got If It Hops right now. Issue 1 is being mailed out left and right now. And then Greed goes to print this month. So that'll come in and we'll be mailing that out left and right. Next month, Theater 7 comes back from the printer. So you guys will be getting that left and right. So All kinds of cool books, man. Like, I need to make one of those fucking. You know what? I need to ask everybody. One of these days, I need to sit down and I just need to ask everybody if you'd be interested in those monthly orders. You know what I mean? What's going on, Peter? It's Peter Lane, guys. Peter Lane does an incredible book about a fox in a cavern full of books. Love that shit. It's incredible.
Yeah, I was having a yarn to Pete last night, actually. It's a good dude.
Love Sky's
Massive
Library.
Masters of the Universe fan. He was showing us like his toy collection that he's been collecting since he was a kid. And they're still all in boxes and in glass cabinets. There's heaps of them, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Shawnee, that's what I was thinking, actually, because I don't know. It was just a thought. It was just something that was, trucking through my head because we're moving into this whole deal with 2 books a month and whatnot. And I was just looking at some different, avenues to help certain people catch up. Because no matter what I do, people forget the website, right? They don't like my website. My website's super easy to use. But it's generally people that have never bought from us. That's the funny thing, right? Generally, people that have never bought from us buy from the website. That's it. Everybody else buys from the Kickstarters, which is cool. You know what I mean? But I find it interesting that, I guess if you look at it, it's easier to buy from the Kickstarters because of the fact that with the amount of product that we put out, you know what I mean? It's literally like, well, why am I going to mess around with this if I can just hop on here in a couple weeks because I know the new book's coming out and I can add the new book too. So I'm with you on that. I guess if that's the vibe, I totally get that. But I am I'm blown away. I want you guys to know I'm really blown away by the artwork for this cover set. We always do good covers. That's not bullshit. We do good covers, but we put out per books, but there's something about, there's really something about the covers that we've put out for this particular issue. Mm-hmm. They're stunning. And I think that it's pushing everyone to their limit, to improve and to put out better covers. I love it. I love seeing everybody push themselves and, the covers are beautiful. Like there's no, I don't even know what to go into about them because I can't praise any of these guys and gals enough for this set of covers that are out on this book. Like they're just beautiful, guys. If you go to, let me throw it up on here right quick. If you go to www.fallenleavescomic.com, right here, you guys can actually sign up on the thing to get notifications when it goes live. And it's going to be such a fun live event because we haven't done like a launch party in ages. We haven't done it. It's just normally just me and Lee, or we'll get a couple of the artists on and we'll BS a little bit. But we've hired an awesome ad team. So they're going to come on and they're going to do a fun little giveaway thing and, talk to you guys and hang out with Lee because my ass is probably going to be slightly inebriated. Slightly. Do you remember that time we did that live show? What the fuck? How's it going?
Yes, I remember.
So fucked up. Like I don't know what we were doing live. We were doing a live show from like Suncoast Comic Con.
That's
what
right.
It was.
Yeah,
and it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it was almost 2 years ago. Yeah, it was almost 2 years ago. So we did this live show, and I had you get B&Bs, right? You get your Airbnbs or whatever, and or your what the fuck is the other thing called? We rented a house. Heather and I rented a whole fucking house, right, for this show, and I'm like, this is gonna be bullshit. I can't believe the deal we got on this fucking house. Yada yada. So we get there. And it's awesome. It was awesome. Like it was insane. Like I think we paid like $70 a night for a whole fucking house. You know what I mean? For just the two of us. And there was alcohol. There was so much alcohol. It was ridiculous. Like in the house. Like we didn't have to buy it. There was fucking shit ton of alcohol there. And like all they did was like they were like, it's all you can drink. Here's the key. You know, it's like $75 for the key. And I was like, let me get that key. You know what I mean? And I remember Lee was doing a show, and I was like, well, let's get on the show with Lee. And we're so fucked up. You know, just bullshitting and stuff with him. And I don't remember what it went down like. I just know that it happened.
Yeah. It was funny. It'll be out there on the interwebs if anyone wants to find it.
I'm sure it is. I've been drunk on the internet a handful of times now, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Probably a handful of times more than I should have been.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too, mate.
I mean, it's dangerous. It's dangerous because you want to talk to your friends and stuff while you're inebriated. It's a dangerous thing.
Oh, that's only natural, mate. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know that it's safe for me. I end up like naked in a bush or some shit. No, it's not. Well,
there's always the leave studio button if that's ever the case, mate.
Yeah. Make sure that I don't get caught. You know, doing anything wild. You know what I mean?
Man, I think from memory, I could be wrong, but I think it probably will be a big weekend in Las Vegas too. I think the Las Vegas Raiders have got their first home game that weekend, possibly, man.
Oh, maybe. I do know there is a music show, a music convention in town that weekend. And I think there's a baked goods convention that weekend too. So there's probably going to be all kinds of goodies floating around in places that I'm not supposed to have either. So I'll, you know.
People fighting over cakes and comics, mate, you know, like, and pasties and stuff.
Yeah. As long as they don't like fall on my table, I will watch the shit out of that. Just don't fall on my stuff. You know what I mean? You guys, you know, and it won't be our fans. It'll be the crazy fuckers across the way. You know what I mean? Let them do their shit, and you know, we'll do the pasties and stuff, and scones and fucking shit for the queen this time. We'll do some scones. That shit sucks, man. That shit sucks. I hate to see countries rocked by anything, even if I'm not part of them. We have a lot of fans in the UK and stuff, and you know, I hate to see, you know, stuff happen.
Yeah, well, it's pretty big news here because Australia is part of the Commonwealth. And,
right.
The Commonwealth is, I guess, it's an older concept of, you know, countries that are, I guess, been found by England. You know what I mean? And back you're like, you know, like you're one of us. So it's a Commonwealth, and there's talk of a day off for workers out here on the day of the funeral, and you know, then there's issues because we, you know, woke up this morning to the news, and obviously her son's become king, so all of the money that's being printed in the mint from this day forward won't have Queen Elizabeth II's head on it. It will have King Charles III. So our currency still stays the same, and
I wouldn't be able to keep up with that shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but dude,
that's pretty complicated.
The other thing I read about her, interesting life, mate. Her first prime minister she dealt with was Winston Churchill.
What?
How crazy is that? Like, that's honestly, when you think about it in time, yes, mate. Like in time, you know, when you look at it in a frame, the first. I'm sure it was the first prime minister, if not very close to, say, second, was Sir Winston Churchill. So, you know, like that's, she was, God, you get thrown into the deep end and you go against, you know, like one of the big wigs in history of the 20th bloody century, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I you know, it's, you know, as we look at things in time, right? What are the big things people remember about right now? Well, they'll remember about fucking fallen leaves because that's going to be great. But they're definitely going to remember the Queen and what happened. They're going to remember fucking COVID, all the shit with COVID. You know, they're going to remember Betty White. You know, they're going to remember fucking Battle for Bustle.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
There's a few of them. You know, there's a few things that are going to happen in this time period that people are going to remember. But my daughter was talking about something the other day. There was a place called Dismal Land. Have you guys heard of Dismal Land? It's like it
Nope.
was like a fucked up take on Disneyland.
No.
And they actually had an artist. It was her art teacher talking to her about it. There was a gentleman that had done like a massive mural of Princess Di, like but she was dressed as Cinderella, and the carriage, instead of being a car, it was a carriage that was flipped over, and like there were paparazzi like taking pictures and stuff. And I was like, man, that's just the most messed up thing. And she was like, yeah, they closed all that stuff down. You can't even go see it anymore. But you believe people would do that? And I was like, it's wild how art, we express ourselves in different ways. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting medium. But I don't know too much about, the topic. She just brought it up. And I thought it was very strange because she brought it up like 3 days ago. My daughter and I have never talked about any kind of the matriarchy or anything like that. You know what I mean? And to have her like pass away was weird, man. Like I told my daughter she wasn't allowed to talk about things anymore. And she was like, I was like, you caused this, didn't you? And she was like, yeah, man. I sit upstairs with my Ouija board and stuff and just make bad shit happen. And I was like, oh my God, get out of here, kid.
Yeah. Oh, well, man, it is, it is what it is, I guess. So,
Ugh.
the royals, there's lots of people enjoy the story of the royals and their modern day intricacies. I think you got a few of them over there, don't you? Harry and Meghan or something, like trundling around doing podcasts and TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, I'm blown away by a lot of stuff these days. But it was cool hanging out with you guys tonight. I am honestly beat. I know we normally do like an hour and a half shows, but I've been running pretty ragged the past couple of days trying to get work done and stuff to get ready for next week. So I think we all going to call it, guys. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us. Talk about elves, and everything else going on in the world today. Magic in general. That's a fun topic. We're going to have to do that again. We're going to have to talk about some magicians maybe who isn't real and whatnot, I used to love David Copperfield as a kid. Like, oh my God, David Copperfield was the coolest. That put the card on the TV screen and touched the TV and he could tell you which card was and shit. Wild. You know what I mean? So we'll have to get into this conversation. I'm a huge fan. I realize that most of it, there may be some real magic out there. Most of it is fake. So it's a cool conversation, though, to see, people's opinions and their thought processes and stuff. And not next week, though. Next week we're doing shenanigans.
Vegas. So next week I'm on with Dustin's ad team and Dustin.
You hang out with Lisa and all kinds of other folks. It'll be a good time. We'll be live from Vegas. Probably have Shawnee with us live from Vegas. So awesome. We'll get Shawnee to wave and whatnot and hang out with us for a little bit while I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off because that happens every convention. Yes, it's going to be mad fun. But again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I hope you all have an incredible evening and a great weekend. And we hope to see you soon. Take it easy now.
Be good.